Now, I had a disagreement with a tailor earlier today, and as a result, I'm not wearing my suit jacket this evening. I'm wearing a friend of mine's jacket, and this friend once said something to me that I found very entertaining. He said, "If only I was humble, I'd be perfect." And however entertaining that statement is, the newly appointed chairman of the association would never make such a statement. Jason is probably one of the most humble men I've ever met. And yesterday outside, just after the Founders Day Assembly ended, I started asking Jason a few questions so that I could properly introduce him to you this evening, because this is the first time he will be giving an address at the annual dinner. He was a bit hesitant, and he wasn't too keen for me to introduce him, comprehensively. And being the rebel that I am, I think I'm just going to tell you everything. And Jason was our head prefect in 2008. He achieved full colors for academics and didn't stop there. In his matric trial exams, he was awarded honors. And back then, honors was for an average of 85% or higher, I believe. He was awarded the Old Boys Prize and the Malcolm Armstrong Renaissance Man Award, and we all know how prestigious that award is to be given at valediction. And then came Jason's matric exams, where he achieved a distinction in Afrikaans, English, mathematics, life orientation, accounting, German, and physical sciences. I probably should have just said he got a distinction for every subject he took. And throughout his matric year, he was a member of the chess club, and quite notably, he was a member of the first team basketball side. And I would like to invite Jason up to the mic to give his first address to you this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Wilkes, Mr. Reeler, Mr. Conroy, honored guests, and old boys. It gives me great pleasure to present this year's Chairman's Report. I was only appointed Chairman about 6 days ago, so I thought my report would be quite a quick one. The school has had its Founders Day weekend this week, and that's pretty much all that's happened since I've been Chairman. I thought it would be quite an easy speech, but just to get some tips, I went onto the Old Boys Association website and listened to a few of the speeches in the past, and then realized I had to do a few thank yous and say a few other things. So let me give you some report back on what's happened over the past year. Before starting, I'd like to pay specific thanks to Mr. Jeff Mayer, the convener of the dinner, and Mrs. Inga Paulson-Little, our association secretary, for putting the dinner together. I certainly enjoy attending these dinners every year, and I know that a huge amount of time and effort goes into putting them together. So can we just please give a round of applause to Mr. Jeff Mayer and Inga. It was mentioned last year that it's becoming increasingly difficult to host dinners like this at the school for the main reason that the school's receiving a lot of pressure for selling alcohol, so we can't do that. But alcohol seems to be an important part of the dinner based on all the stories you've heard tonight. So thankfully, we've managed to work around it, and I assure you that the association remains committed to bringing you all back to the school at least once a year for this dinner. Some of you may be aware that at the recent AGM, there are a number of changes to the board. A number of new members were elected, but also most of those who served in the past have remained on the board. So the board is a lot bigger than it has been in the past, but this ensures that there are a number of fresh ideas coming to the table, some renewed energy, but also ensures that we haven't lost the experience and the insight of those who have served in the past. The new directorate is excited to take on the challenges that face the association going forward, and I can already see some of the energy that's come to the table at the meeting that we had on Monday. I'd like to thank those directors who served over the 2017-2018 year, and to the new directors, I look forward to be able to give a good report back at the AGM in 2019. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the previous chairman, Mr. Thomas Rundle, for his service to the association. Thomas was co-opted onto the association directorate in 2003 and formally elected in 2004, initially as part of the association activities subcommittee. He was appointed chairman in 2013 and stepped down in September last year, 14 years after he'd been elected. Thomas is unfortunately unable to be here this evening, but the association directorate would like to award him with a framed tie in appreciation of his service. Can we please give a round of applause to Thomas in his absence for his service? I'm proud to report that the association awarded honorary life memberships to a large number of teaching staff at the school yesterday morning. The association's constitution makes allowance for honorary life membership to be awarded to teachers of the school who have served in that role for a continuous period of 5 years or more. While these awards have been done in the past on an ad hoc basis, proper records have not been maintained, partly because we've had a lot of Solomon boys on the board. But it was decided this year that we'd start afresh with the view that this would formally continue every year. The qualifying members of staff were awarded badges with the association logo, which can be worn on their gowns, with the intention that these are unisex symbols of membership to the association and symbols of our appreciation to the staff. A similar function will be held next week, Friday, to award honorary life memberships to those of the admin staff and support staff who also qualify. I would like to welcome all of the new members to the association and look forward to seeing them at events in the future. Regarding the club, the directorate is in the process of rectifying the zoning of the Old Boys Club property, which has become outdated and is no longer formally recognized under the new Tshwane Town Planning scheme, which now specifically makes allowance for a sports and recreational club. It is our hope that realigning the zoning of the property will allow us to undertake new development on the property and manage it to the benefit of all Old Boys and the local community without losing its focus of sport and social interaction. We remain committed to ensuring that Old Boys have a place of fellowship and recognize that in today's age, we are truly privileged to have such a property of our own. I'm happy to report that in 2017, the reunion groups contributed in excess of 100,000 Rand to the Praetorian Trust, which will be used to benefit the school. This contribution is a sign of the continued support of Old Boys and something that really sets our school apart. The association itself also contributed 300,000 Rand to the school in the form of our annual grant. And while this number is lower than we hope, we certainly do intend to increase it going forward as much as possible. Our primary focus as the association will always be to support the school that we so dearly love. In the same breath, I would also like to thank the school, and particularly the headmaster, for your continued support of the association and the Old Boys community at large. Some of you may have seen in the recent newsletter that the headmaster will be traveling to Australia at the end of the month to attend a conference, and will also be attending a number of dinners with some of our Old Boys down under. He'll also be traveling to a few of the towns across the country to attend local branch dinners in the coming weeks. Mr. Reela, we wish you well in your travels. Lastly, I'd like to thank those who had an active role in this evening's dinner. Mr. James Orr for accepting the role of MC. I know it's a daunting task. To Mr. Reela and the school for hosting us every year. To the caterers and the bar staff. To Dr. van der Walt and the Dixie Band for the music that we all love so much. To Mr. Conroy and I think you'll get a proper thanks after your speech, and to all the other speakers who've spoken tonight. I'd also like to thank everyone here for attending the dinner, and your continued support of the school and the Old Boys community. Next year is our 100th dinner, and it's sure to be a fantastic occasion. And I'd like to ask you all to start spreading the word already and invite all your friends. We hope to get many, many more here next year. Thank you.